Folks, welcome to Deming, New Mexico. We're here at an amazing establishment. The vibe here is incredible, most incredible down-home cooking. And it started with a gentleman, the owner of the Adobe Deli, but his career started back in Long Island, in my hometown of Stony Brook, Long Island. And he was a prolific person who was involved with creating the vibe, creating what would get the audiences off and what would get them inspired. He was never in positions of leadership, but he inspired so many people by his being a light man. And now his entrepreneurial spirits have taken him to Deming, New Mexico for the last, 4 decades. Van Jacobson, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
And how are you this fine day, my friend?
Yeah,
it's been quite a while.
My man.
Yeah, it's been, I would say, a good 4 years since you've been back here.
It's been a minute with Teddy Feinberg, my dear brother, who I love dearly. Bob Moisey was the head lighting designer for Fairleigh Dickinson, for the Capitol Theater, for all the places. Can you talk to the audience about like an unusual request from an artist, or just the most incredible request from an artist as it related to lighting back in the indigenous lighting days?
I tell you the truth, getting back to my dear friend Moisey, right? He was an artist, he was a friend. We used to play Go. I don't know if anybody even knows the game, which is a Chinese game with little things, and he taught me the game. But I tell you the truth, he hired me and inspired me in the lighting, right? And I would say probably over 200 different bands that I did through the year, if not more. I mean, we did.
I know you know, but I want you to talk about, so there was the vanilla concerts, right, where it was just do your job. But were there artists that came to Moisey and said, we want a certain vibe? I mean, can you talk about certain specific things that were different?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Every single band that came in
had requests.
Had requests on where to put, the lights and where to shine them, what section they're going to be standing on. There'd be X's out there, right, where, they would ghost. There would be different bands that you would just have to ghost with magenta.
Explain to the layperson, what does ghost mean? What does ghost mean?
Well, which means that the audience could never see, right, exactly where the spot operator is putting their thing. So when the members would come out, they would know exactly where to stand.
Dig.
Right? So let's take it, for instance, a big band, back then would probably be
Janis Joplin or something.
Yeah, Janis Joplin. So the lighting designer would come and have a pre-meeting with all the spot followers, right? And also Moisey. So the lighting designer would make sure all the gels were in the exact spot at the exact point where their entertainers were going to be. So if Janis Joplin was in position 2. So if you have basically the guy that's designing it would basically be spot operator 1, 2, 3, and 4 go to position 2 on the word go. 1, 2, 3, go, right? And then all of a sudden there would be spot operator go into gel 4 on the count of 3, boom, position 2, right? So you would have to listen and know exactly where to go, how to go it, and what gel it would be.
What was the gel like? I mean, it was everything now. It wasn't synthetic at all. What was
actually? It was made out of gelatin.
It was made out of gelatin.
Right. You could take it, you drop it in water, would just disintegrate, and that's really good for the heat behind it. And it would be, quite a few thousand watts of, let's say, even the spots, right, would have carbon arcs, just like welding. But the two arcs would go together. That's where they got their lighting. So it's quite an interesting, people don't realize, right, that a couple concerts I did, I'm spanned over 60 feet in the air on a 6-inch platform with the spot with the audience behind me. So when you change a gel, you're talking molten metal, right? Which, if you accidentally dropped it, it would hit somebody's head and burn through it. So, yeah, I mean, this was a serious thing, and there was a lot of professionals, right? With the age I was at, I thought I was an extreme good professional, and everybody took care of each other in this whole industry.
Let me ask you, if you're talking to Van Jacobson, if you're in New Mexico, you want to stop by the Adobe Deli because it's the greatest food on earth. My brother and I had an opportunity to come here a few years ago, found out Van was actually a Stony Brook native. I just want to ask you about if you could talk a little bit about, you had a psychedelic food truck, and I just want you to talk about how a lot of the Grateful Dead roadies, they worked on LSD. Did you work on LSD?
No.
Can you talk about, if anything, how it broadened your perspective as in an entrepreneurial sense? How it made you dream more, if at all?
Well, I'll be real honest with you. I was a beer drinker. I'm still a beer drinker.
You're just okay. So right on.
Yeah.
But I mean, explain the vibe. You see a lot of food trucks outside venues now. Chris Robinson Brotherhood show. You get all this like fusion food, like Asian food now. Can you talk about how you acquired your truck and the name of your food truck and what you brought to the table for that vibe? Because I mean, Van Jacobson back in 65, 66, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that was 69 was Woodstock, and I went there too, but let's not get there. But in the 70s, well, I had a deli, me and my parents, it was called the Jacobson's Deli, which was right next to the State University of Stony Brook, New York. And
it's on Nichols Road, or?
No, it was on, what name was
who knows?
25A.
25A. Jacobson Deli, baby. I love it, man. I love it.
Okay, so
just like just like regular deli.
Yeah. So what we did was we bought a Blue Nose truck from Rikers Island, I believe it was, and the only thing that bus did was drive back and forth 1 mile twice a day to deliver prisoners to the jail. So it was on the auction block, so we bought it. So I took it, and we made it into a deli on wheels to deliver to the kids in the campus, right? And it was called the Munchmobiles for the Insomniac Nocturnals.
Say it again.
The Munchmobile for the Insomniac Nocturnals, right?
Who came up with the name? Did you come up with that name?
I
want.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes. So it was
because you're talking that we got the spirits talking in here now,
right?
But I guess what I'm getting at is like, so yeah, I mean, would you go to the venues and hang at the shows, and then start selling food, or would you just roll up and that was your major mission?
No, we had a time for each dorm. We went to every dorm, and what I did was we had the whole basketball team from the university run it. They made good money. We had a great time.
What's good money, by the way? Because it's changed.
Well,
now.
I mean,
people are drowning right now, man. The cost of living's out of control. You guys were the country was so rich then,
Yeah, I mean, back in the 70s, for everybody, I really don't know what they made. Probably maybe, $50, $100 a person.
But just the idea that the basketball team would be willing to do that, so that I did.
Well, they loved it. Yeah, they loved it. Right? It was one of those things where, the university, you had to help everybody out at the university,
Why?
So,
Why?
Because they're good people, period, I was there, I would say, 1 year after there was a concert, with the Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead. What year?
That was 1970 or 71.
Okay.
Right, at the university.
At Stony Brook, yeah.
At Stony Brook.
Yep.
They had a 24-hour deli. And all of a sudden, the concert was over at 4 o'clock in the morning. And the place here, everybody's got the munchies and they're lined up, right?
So wound up.
I mean, the place was packed.
So
right?
The fact that you, yeah.
But the interesting part, I hate to cut you off.
No, do it.
Right, which was basically, all of a sudden, a couple cops came in, wanted to know what the hell was going on, right? And then, boom, Jesus, after everybody left, I swept up a pile of drugs this much. I mean, it was insane, I mean.
In today's world, would you have been arrested too?
I mean, put it this way, you know what I did? They were there after everybody left. I says, here you go, buddy. Here's the pile. What are you going to do? He says, do me a favor. Throw it away. Too much paperwork. Right? So that's what
that's
supposedly
cool.
I did.
This is very important. I want you to know, how did you, was music a calling for you, just irrelevant of the gigs you had? I mean, can you just talk about your passion for live music? I mean, you are an entrepreneur of an amazing Southwest. It's a deli, but it's very misleading. If you look up Deming, New Mexico, and you look up Adobe Deli, it's not a deli. It's a full-on animal house. Like, it's a fraternity. I mean, it's beautiful. And so did the music help you, inspire you to just think way beyond?
Oh, yeah. I tell you the truth. I probably had the job anybody in my age would love to have. I mean, this was a perfectly insane job because, I love my music, right?
Which music did you get off on a lot back then?
Well, back then it was, even when I went to see different shows, I didn't even know who the heck they were, right? And all of a sudden...
So great, you had no idea.
Yeah, George Fogadine comes out, or, all these different places, and you say, wow. And, you hear them on the radio, and then it just kept on going on, and then you look forward to it. There were so many different shows that I did. I worked in the Palladium, I worked in Fillmore East, I worked in the Capitol Theater, I worked down in Asbury Park, right?
Stone Pony?
Right. No, it wasn't a Stone Pony. That's where what's-his-name was hanging out. This was one of those
There's a Bruce
things.
Was there.
There was a venue on each side.
Dig.
Right, and John Shear owned that too, wherever he owned. I did New York State fairs, right, which was...
Did you do Watkins Glen?
Matter of fact, I was up there in Watkins Glen also. So, when you get back to it, here, and you also have the backstage passes, and you get to know the stage managers, you get to know, everything that's going on. We would make bets on if somebody can jump up on the stage, right? And I've lost quite a few cases of beer doing that with the stage managers, right? This is one of these things, or... when you had the Hells Angels there, you knew not to touch certain things backstage.
Were they providing security at that time?
At a few venues I went to, super nice.
How did that change the vibe, though?
Well, I tell you the truth, I think the vibes became a little more serious. People kind of listened a little more than they would.
Explain to the people that were born, and why would that be?
Well, I think a lot of people were just plumb scared of them. So, that's the vibe they brought in. And they did, their job, right? But, going through, the different eras of different things. Like my brother one time, we went to Woodstock. My brother hated Woodstock. And he was interviewed up in Las Vegas, Nevada, anybody that wants to be interviewed. And my brother got on there. He says that was a big pain, yada, yada, right? I would never do anything.
He was your younger brother or older brother?
My older brother, which passed away.
So you really looked up to him, though?
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I mean, this was incredible. This is
Wavy
the
Gravy
best
was
thing.
handing out breakfast. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it sure was. You know, somebody sitting next to me was smoking peyote all day for 3 days, right? You know, it's incredible. But, you know, I mean, he didn't like it, but I loved it. So it went from there.
Now, this is Van Jacobson here, live on the Jake Feinberg Show. Such a high honor. How have you brought the East Coast vibe, that Suffolk County, Stony Brook vibe, to Deming? I mean, you've been very established here long before I ever moved to the Southwest. But there's so much character at this place, the Adobe Deli. You're the perfect person to ask. What have you brought? What vibe did you bring here? And what have you met here that has enhanced your true nature?
Well, you know, everybody I meet is, you know, just, unbelievable, great people. A month ago, we had in here Sylvester Stallone, right?
Sly was in here.
Right?
Yeah.
And Sly was in here, or just Rocky, I called him, you know. And also that Michael B. Jordan. And, you know, he was talking to his wife, and we're walking around. He's got his, he introduced me to his wife on his phone, and I was talking to his wife, and we came back here. I said, this is my cigar lounge in here. And you can probably see that right on my website. Well, I don't know if it's even on my website. But,
here's the thing. What appealed to Sly about this place?
Oh, he just loved.
What did he love about it?
Well, I mean, he just loved the ambiance in here, and all the trophies and the history,
paraphernalia. The history is out of control.
Yeah.
You know, can you actually pick up this picture and explain to the audience
this
and what concert it was?
This was on top of Jersey Stadium, right? Working the Pink Floyd concert. Right.
What year is that?
I think that was 1971, maybe, something like that.
We're having a hard time with the lighting, but what are you holding in your hand? And explain the low tech, but how it added to the spirituality of the music. I mean, not everything was synced in. Not everything was perfect and homogenized.
Oh, well, I mean...
It's not like the sauce for your ribs, which is just... that's a whole other. That's a 5-hour conversation.
You just got to melt everything into it.
Right, how did you do? Explain from a lighting point of view how you melted it all together.
Well, in the lighting, some of the bands would, instead of calling a show, after they saw how you handled it, they say, "Guys, you're doing perfect. You take over." So you get the feel. The music. You know how to handle it. You know the entertainers. You just melt your music into what you're doing. And once you get that, then you consider it perfect. To the point of where, I tell you the truth, my coworkers back then were just unbelievably experts, perfect, and they should be. I'll take my hat off to them.
Well, if you had a niche, though, if Van Jacobson had a niche, what was it in the lighting purview?
A niche.
A niche.
Oh, a niche.
I mean, if people said, "Van, we need you," what would be the quality? What chops did you have?
Oh,
everyone can do the perfunctory stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were people like Bert Holman, who'll be tuning in later, who's the manager of the Allman Brothers. I mean, there were serious, these were more audio issues at the universities, American University in Washington, D.C., places like that. Can you talk about a time when you saved the day?
Oh, well, I don't know if I ever say that. Probably saved my.
You've worked enough shows where it was like
right,
somebody called in sick, enough people called it,
oh,
whatever.
Yeah,
I want to know
the
before the Adobe, what's the story? What's the hero story for Van Jacobson in the lighting point?
The hero story. I'm no hero, my friend. I'm no hero.
Yeah, you are a hero, man.
I'm just a guy that just loves having a good time.
I dig.
And love to talk about my past.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, talk about a jam you were in and how you got out and how you pulled it off.
A jam I was in. Oh, well, I don't know about me drinking one time. No, we don't want to go
Light,
there.
lighting wise.
Lighting-wise, a couple times there, you ran out of carbon ox, and you had to use some small pieces. We did that, where, it was a lot. The gels burnt out. Had to, do different types of colors in front to make colors, right? In that perspective, yeah. If we go from, the lighting designer for Joe Cocker, he says, guys, it's either going to be the second or third song. Just go to black as soon as I tell you. And he says what he does, he's got that graspy voice and he just pukes all over the place. And that's it. Boom. So, and then sure than shit, that guy, boom, go to black. It was like right in the middle of the second song towards the end. Boom, that's what happened. They had to come out and mop up like, we're a bunch of idiots up there running the spots. But we saved the day basically for not watching him vomit all over the place.
Wow.
So,
amazing,
that's
amazing.
One of those things that...
No, I mean, this is so... We're talking to a stone genius, and he's talking about Joe Cocker throwing up on the floor and you cleaning that up.
Right. Well,
Joshua,
I didn't run out and clean it up. I'm 1,000 yards away with a, spotlight.
let me ask you, were you able to... Was it so sort of rote learning that you could just truly just get off on the show all the time?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Explain that to people. Explain what your once you locked in the lighting, and it was cool. You're getting paid to get off on music, man.
Oh yeah, and it was a great thing. You love doing what you're doing. That was one of those things where you love doing it. And
why did you love doing it?
Because I love music, number one. I've always loved lighting, since I was like 14 years old.
How did you get lighting? I mean,
my brother had a band, growing up, and I did the lighting and the whole bit.
They had like a Fats Domino kind of band?
Oh, no. He did like Procol Harum,
That's your generation. What was he doing?
This is things that he did.
But you were experimenting at that time.
Right. Well, absolutely. And he also, he played the Hammond B3 organ, right? Which I still have to this day.
Did he play bass lines with his feet?
For who?
With his feet, or did he play left-hand bass?
No, he did it with his feet. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, the Hammond B3, he actually leased his out to a few bands, in between, because the sound of the B3 is so totally different than the sound from any other organ. But I still have that. I haven't really done anything. He had two Leslies. I got him. I got one Leslie back there. But
you fell in love with music because of your brother's band. Or you
right,
got, yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. And then explain to the audience, guy I've done 2 interviews with. How was John Shear able to do what he did? What did he do that was so impressive in the sense that to be able to get these guys, just this propensity of music channeled all through, and it was involved with the universities too.
Well, John Shear was an interesting person.
Bring it down.
You think about it, that the Capitol Theater was actually, showed porn. All day long.
It was a smut house by day.
Right, and he had all these different corporations lined up. As soon as he came in, boom, got closed down for showing it. He had another one. He was up within 3 hours.
How did he do?
Right,
how the heck did he get it up in 3 hours? That's what I'm saying.
He had another corporation. He just put a different shingle up on the wall.
Wow.
Okay, but watching John Shear, right, one time, if you were in the audience, you could see on the left-hand side a little kind of room where it would be 2 seats. That was where John Shear always sat. And there was a guy by the name of Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show.
Sure.
Okay. which was absolutely incredible.
What just before you go, like before the gig, like would there be a pushing the smut aside? Would there be a movie prior? How would it all be music, or would there be other multi types of entertainment before the Dead or Tuna would come on?
Oh, I tell you the truth, I know, a couple times showing up on the weekends. They only had it on the Friday and Saturday night, the concerts, all week long. You had to fill in the gap.
So what would you fill it in? You fill it in with like stand-up comedians or movies or what?
Oh, I have no idea what he did. I mean, there was, a lot of different people, stand-up comedians too. But getting back to to John Shear, you were asking me about him. He was a great guy. Talked to him a few times, right? But Dr. Hook in the medicine show, there was a little bar behind the Capitol Theater. So when we got there early, Dr. Hook was in there, and boom, he's buying Jack Daniels for everybody, right? and all of a sudden, John Shear had a brand new the piano. This thing was beautiful, and said, "Be kind to it." Wrong thing to say to the doctor, right? He went out there, pounded the keys, did a great show. I think there was 67 keys totally destroyed by him playing with his feet and doing everything else. And as John Shear off to the side, we ghost him with the little magenta and looking at him, how insane and pissed off he was, right? That this guy just destroyed my, what do they call him, a Stratus, right? Piano, whatever. So, yeah, you could say he's had his moments in life too.
Well, we all have, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Bill Graham. You talk about Bill Graham?
Yeah, I met him on the outside. Well, didn't meet him. I'm kind of a little, spot operator, a little crony, but sitting down having a cocktail.
Turned entrepreneur, right, Adobe Deli,
Right. And I'm off to the side and listening to John and him talk about the concerts and everything. And he flew in. It was an outdoor concert upstate New York somewhere. I even forget who was playing. I think there was the Beach Boys, right? The Doobie Brothers, and there was 4 or 5 other. I even forget the headline at the time. So, but that was kind of an interesting deal there too.
I just want you to, Van. Like I said, my brother and I, our minds were blown when we came here and wound up realizing you were from Stony Brook. There's a lot of shows, boutique shows, on television and about, making something out of nothing, turning chicken salad into a gourmet dish and stuff. But, I'm leaving here with ribs and onion rings. And, was that what your family was? Did you learn that yourself, or did you come up with that kind of cooking, or did that just apply to the regional part of this country?
Well, when you're in the deli business back east, you got to learn how to cook. Survival of the fittest, so you always got to do what you got to do, right? And when it comes down to that, you learn from the best. People that have experience for years and years, right, are going to teach you and give you their best, recipes and how to do things.
So what did you learn? What did you learn how to cook? What dishes were you marinating in? And what were you able to transpose with the Insomniac Shack? With
we did sandwiches, and I remember, basically, we had contests and everything, and I believe, and don't quote me on this or whatever, over in Connecticut, I thought it was, what's the name of the big, sandwich shop around the country. That would
Subway
be
or something?
Subway.
Okay.
I think that's where they started in Connecticut.
Right.
And we used to have contests going back and forth with the original Subway.
What was the content? This
Well,
is amazing.
who can make the most ridiculous sandwich? Right? We had one time where one of our sandwiches were 10 foot long. We had, from hot mustard from Chinese places to ice cream to linguine to bologna to whatever, all on it, and which guy from the university could eat it, right? This kind of stuff, and then
So
Subway would do something similar. We would go back and forth.
It's so interesting.
Through the radio.
So amazing. I mean, so these cats coming out of the Dead shows, they'd be eating linguine sandwiches with ice cream. Dude.
No, they
did you fuck with them? Did you play with them, or did did you try to actually acquiesce to what they'd say? I want a certain.
I would never do anything.
No, I know that.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm just saying
ridiculous,
playfully. You're talking about linguine. You were trying to outdo Subway at that point.
Well, of course, you got to do something off the grid, right? You take chocolate syrup and put mayonnaise on it. What are you going to do? But people would come and eat it, and then you give them the prize, whatever the prize was. I forget by now, but
you don't remember the prizes you handed out?
Do I remember any prizes?
What prizes did you hand out?
God, I don't know. Like $50 a week of free food or something, and
but the point is that you were cooking pretty straight ahead East Coast, like deli meats and stuff. I mean, the stuff at the Adobe is some of the most hardcore barbecue you'll ever run into.
Yeah. Well,
when did that happen? Well, how did that pop into your head?
No, I mean everything, different areas. Everybody doesn't have the same taste buds from anywhere in the country. They're like a hero, right? Would be a hero, then it's called a wedge somewhere else, then it's called a sub somewhere else, then it's called a hoagie somewhere else, then it's called, whatever. So, everybody, every different area, of course, you got to do what you got to do, but you also have to put a signature on all the food that you do so people remember it, right? And once they remember, I've been in business here for 40 years, and I got people that drive from where you are, Tucson. That spend the night.
I'm going to see Tootie Heath. By the way, for the audience, I'm going to see Tootie tomorrow, but I had to go to Deming to see Van and the Adobe. Yeah. But yeah, so what is it about the memory thing that's so important? It draws them back. People come from the East Coast here.
Oh yeah, people whenever they drive through, I'll have people go from California. But what they'll do, they do it twice a year, going there and coming back. Guaranteed they'll stop. And, that repeat business, I do well, right?
Yeah. I go back to what tangible stuff did you bring from Stony Brook? The vibe, the essence. I mean, listen, man, I've been cooking for
tangible, like real stuff?
No, I'm saying, what did you infuse? I mean, it could be a square environment. You lit a fire under people, man.
Well, I mean,
is that what you brought?
That too,
yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Of course that too. But when it comes down to recipes and everything, I finally, after years of being down here, I used to sell boar's head meat only,
right,
back east, and they started delivering down here.
Even in the '60s, you were selling boar's head. Wow.
Right. So once they started delivering down here, of course you got to you got to get back into business. I didn't really care about lunch. I'm so far out of town. It's not going to be the doctor's office running out for a quick lunch. No, they're going to have to drive, 10 miles out to have a quick lunch.
I know it.
And that doesn't flush in the real world.
Right.
So, that's one of those things. So, but I still did it. And, I do all right business during the day, but I'm a steakhouse, right? But the reason it was Adobe Deli is because my mother, when we came down here, hey, we have an Adobe bar, and we were a deli. So let's just call it. And I refuse to ever take that off. I could call it something else.
It's a compound. I mean, this
Right.
is an intellectual and,
Right.
and delicious marinating compound. It is not something that you will see anywhere in the Southwest. It is completely unique. Barry Melton, the fish from Country Joe and the Fish, who will be tuning into this, he talked about the Joshua Light Show. Can you talk about, because he says that was the first light show to come to New York. What is your understanding of what is your understanding of the Joshua Light Show?
Well, the Joshua Light Show, I've heard them, but, being in
You heard of them, but
of them.
yeah, of
right?
them.
I couldn't say exactly what they were doing, but I remember 100 years ago, it seems like, they had the wet show where they had OPEC projectors, right, and two clear mason or I forget, plates, and they put different color oils. And the oils wouldn't interlock with the others, and they did pulsations.
How long did this process take?
Oh, by putting that together, I mean, they just had the right types of oils with the right colors and the right waters where they never interacted with each other. But occasionally they would do, so then it would be like, I think the first time I saw a wet show was with Jacobson airplane, right?
What was that like?
That was just intense, and I was in the audience, right? I wasn't even doing lighting, right? And watching them, they would squeeze it together to pulsate the pound of the music, and just go so everybody had the visual, right? And also felt it, right?
You felt it.
Right.
Explain how you felt it.
Well, just the beats of the bass and everything.
Cassidy, Jack Cassidy,
the
rock
music,
and the bass.
right? And then you had the visual. So what I did here, right? Taking my experience in the past for lighting, and then taking my experience for sound and taste, right? So I did an oxygen bar, a dessert oxygen bar here.
In Deming?
Right here in this place.
A dessert oxygen bar?
Right. So basically,
Am I hearing that correctly? What is that?
So basically, what it is that I just got to tie the music, and basically what
Right.
it's got 98.9% pure oxygen, which clears your head, right? And it's got different aromas. So let's say I did a cheesecake, okay? So you have a cherry piece of cheesecake, inhaling, almost pure oxygen with cherry flavor so what do you have here? You have two of the scents. You have your visual of the cake, right?
Wow.
You have your
Wow.
taste.
Wow.
And also you have your aroma.
Multi-sensory.
Now,
Multi-sense.
so what I just need is to have headphones with the right type of music for each piece of dessert. Then I would conquer everything because I only have 3 out of the 4. So, come down and enjoy that if you can.
Oh man, dig on that. But tell me about what you think the most important qualities of leadership are.
Well, I think, you always want to be treated as you want to treat people, right? So you treat everybody equal, right? And you want to be in control to
But
guide
not
people
but not
the right
insecure.
way.
But not insecure.
Right.
You want to, how have you balanced that? How have you learned to grow as a leader and not be insecure? Where talk to younger leaders out there. Leadership is like a major issue now. It's like moral leadership, but there's this idea of like it sounds colloquial. Treat people the way you want to be treated. But can you give an example of that from your younger life where it still sits?
I'm a total believer in treating everybody the way you want to be treated. You never belittle anybody. You just treat everybody exactly how you want to be treated. And if you can't handle that, then you shouldn't be in business, or you shouldn't even talk to anybody. You shouldn't be any kind of leader.
Huh.
So,
I dig. What's your concept of love, by the way? I mean, if will you ever? I guess I ask the musicians sometimes if the ability to play music was taken away from them, would their soul die? Would your soul die if this was taken away from you?
oh, I don't know. I would go on doing other.
What would you do?
Sure. I'm sure I would find something really good.
What are the other What are the things that you think about? You're like, boy, if I didn't have the Adobe, I'd want to do this.
Or what would it be?
What would be what are the other passions underneath the boiling rib sauce, barbecue sauce of the Adobe?
God, phew. There's like gobs of things I would.
What,
but I tell you the
throw
truth,
a few
I don't
out,
think,
man.
I really don't think that this would be the time and place to even discuss that. But then again, you never know. Maybe in 25 minutes, maybe I'll have another beer.
Well, all I'm saying is we go around once. So we go in this lifetime. So what is something that you still want to be an entrepreneur with?
I want to be like you.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to be like Jake Feinberg?
Yeah, right. I want to interview people and ask that same question, and then all of a sudden, boom, get an answer that I can't answer right now, and then know the answer.
Van Jacobson, I can't wait to see you again, brother. Thank you for the ribs and the onion rings and the coleslaw and the music, and God bless you, brother.
Okay.
It's the Jake Feinberg Show. We'll see you later.
Thank you.